Hello and welcome to Wireman's Whimsy. Thanks for tuning in and viewing the video today. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when the next video goes live. So today we're going to make this It's Your Time to Shine card using the Daisy Lane stamp set and the daisy punches, the two sizes of daisy punch. We'll also be using some Stampin' Blends. We're using the light Smoky Slate and the light Daffodil Delight. The colors we're going to be using are Daffodil Delight, Balmy Blue, and Garden Green. So we're kind of pulling from a couple of different color families here today, but they all go really well together. So I've already pre-done some of the work on the card so that we can just get moving with it. I'm just going to move some things off to the side so I've got some room to work. One of the things that I have done is I've cut out a 5 1/4 by 4 of each of the colors and I've labeled them. And what this helps me do is decide what card base I want to use. So I can put my card front up against and see, do I want to mat it? Which color do I want in behind? So I can show that to you a bit later. And then I've already stamped and punched out some of the daisies. And there's 2 left that I need to punch out. What I did is I stamped them in Smoky Slate, and then I used the Smoky Slate blender just to create some shadow in here, and the Daffodil Delight to color in the center. And these have a direction to them in that all the petals are the same, but you can go up and down or side to side. And if you look at the punch goes up and down. So if you stamp these up and down, it's really easy to line up the punch. And sometimes it takes a little bit of finesse, but there we go. And then you just pop that flower out. And then we'll do the same with the large punch. You can see it lines up. So we're just going to line this one up as well. And sometimes if you just squeeze down just a little bit on the punch, it helps to hold the paper without wiggling too much. And then if you're aligned, you can just pop that out. So those are the daisies that we need for the card front. So now we need to build the card front. So we're going to use a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of the white cardstock. And sometimes when I cut the cardstock, I get like a raised edge. If you just take your bone folder and slide it along, it smooths that raised edge out really nicely, so you don't have that kind of bumpy edge anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the leaves in Garden Green. And I just did 3 stems, and I went up from the bottom of the card. I kind of came off the bottom, one kind of over here, and then one in the middle, a little bit taller, and then one off to the side, like that. So that's done. And while we've got the Garden Green out, I will also stamp the greeting, which says, "It's your time to shine." And then we're going to use the blending brushes. I'm actually quite obsessed with the blending brushes. I love how they fill in the background of a card without having to put too much detail in. It's just that last little touch. So we are going to use the blender pens, and I'm going to use the Garden Green to do the bottom of the card. And I'm going to start off the card and then sweep it in. And you can keep going over an area to darken it up, or you can make it just a little bit lighter. So in this one, I kind of swept up to the top of the one stem and then filled in kind of the body of it there. So I think I'm just going to touch in just a little bit more in the middle. So there we go. And then just for something a little bit different, because I tend to do blue and green a lot in various shades, I took my Daffodil Delight And I'm just going to flip this around because it's easier to do it this way. I did a sunshine. So there's a sun up in the corner of this card, helping the daisies grow, and I just kept sweeping it. Oh, see, I was supposed to start off, so this one's going to have a big bright piece of sunshine in it, because there we go. And then I took the Balmy Blue, one of my favorite blues. I use it a lot. And then I just went in and did the sky. So same way, you just start off the page and then come in. And I just brought it down to kind of meet the green and just swooped around the sunshine just to get some color on top. And you can do this as light or as dark as you like. The sample card that I did is quite dark. So I'm just going to add some more color to this one just to pick it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, the blending brushes are fabulous. If you haven't seen them before, they look like they're sponge, but they're not. They're actually lots and lots of little bristles. And they work really well. So what we need to do now is we need to mount this card on the card base. Because we're using dimensionals on the card front, it is easier to layer up without any dimensionals on it. So we're just going to lay this down on our garden green base. Drop it down like that. And then we need to put our daisies together. So I'm just using some Stampin' Seal on the back of one of them. And then you need to kind of line it up so that it's centered and it's evenly distributed. And this one gets glued down flat to the card front, kind of up a little bit higher so we've got room for the other flowers. They will overlap a little bit, but if you wanted to use glue dots here, glue dots are a really good option for these small areas you need adhesive on. And we're just going to layer these ones up as well, like that. If they're not perfect, it's not a big deal. Not every flower out there is absolutely perfect. And we're just going to do that. And then these ones get dimensionalized onto the card front. So we're just going to pop it up, and it's okay if the flower overlaps a little bit. We don't want it to actually overlap too much, because otherwise it won't fit in the envelope, but it's fine as it is. And then we need to cut out the greeting with the smallest of the stitched rectangle dies. I'm just going to pop that one down like that. So as you can tell, depending on where you put your leaves, they kind of come out a little bit different each time. I'm just going to cut out the greeting and then I can attach it. I used the small dimensionals to do this, to put the greeting on because it is a bit skinny. So just make sure that that's as squared up as possible. Put that on top, and then we're going to run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and we can adhere it, and our card is finished. So that is a relatively quick. You do have to do some stamping and some punching. And sometimes if I've got a lot of pieces I want to make, I prefer the punch because it's really quick. You can just keep going. You don't need to run it through and then run it through again. And then, run it the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, 6 times if you need 6 cutouts. So I do like the punches if I'm doing kind of a lot of one thing. The nice thing about some of the dies is they've started putting in 2 or 3 of the same die so that you can actually cut multiples out at a time. And then you can just put this wherever you like. I like it sort of offset, so I'm just going to pop it down like that. And there is your finished card. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you are inspired to create your own card with the Daisy Lane set and the the blending brushes. So take care, and we'll see you next time.